Hello everybody, I'm Mark Hoover and NCM Sports Talk is back for yet another episode, bringing you the highlights and stories of all things Norwood sports. We begin the show with NCM commentator Joe Spadorsha interviewing his sister, NHS 2025 grad and future Bentley field hockey player Emily Spadorsha.
Hello and welcome to NCM Sports Talk. I'm Joe Spadorsha. Today joining us is my sister, Emily Spadorsha. Emily, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
So Emily played 3 varsity sports in high school for all 4 years, field hockey, ice hockey, and lacrosse. How did you just manage that with school and everything else that goes on in a high schooler's life?
Yeah, so I've always played sports my whole life, so it's always been going. So with the high school sports coming in every week, every day, you have a 1 to 2 hour practice every day. You got 1 to 2 hours for homework. Mostly get things done during school, during the studies, and just having good time management can really help with that.
And 12 varsity seasons, that's kind of a lot. Did you ever feel any pressure to pick one sport and just play one out of the 3?
No, I never really felt pressure to just pick one because I always loved all of them equally, and they all kept me occupied and they all kept me busy, and I really liked working towards all of them all the time.
So how did playing those 3 different sports shape you as a person and also as an athlete?
I think having 3 sports that are similar, like field hockey and lacrosse, really helped me get on the field and try my hardest and run the fastest I can compared to hockey, like the strides, and that helped me with the running in field hockey and lacrosse. So all of them shaped me to be a better player for the next one.
And what part about high school sports are you going to miss the most?
I'm just going to miss the team aspect in the locker room or before the games or pregame rituals, just kind of having fun with the team and the pasta dinners and just having teammates that are felt like your family.
Does any one memory stick out to you as maybe your proudest moment or something you look back fondly on?
I think just my junior year and senior year field hockey seasons. I think mostly senior year was the best year we've had as not only a team but as like a family, and how we all acted towards each other and making it that far again and knowing that our full potential was that. And I think looking up to that was the best part of the whole season and just like my whole career.
And, you guys made those really great runs to the championship. Just talk a little bit about how much fun that was.
It was awesome. I mean, we were probably the only fall team still in, so got the field whenever we wanted, got to practice whenever we wanted, had a couple captain's practices on Sundays, just running through corners. It was just the hard work that we put in really made it worth it. And just everyone fully in, 100%, never stopping, never getting on the brakes, I think is what really is memorable for me.
So you're wearing the Bentley field hockey shirt. We're going to Bentley next year to play field hockey. What made you choose field hockey?
I think the hard work that I put in the whole year to make it that far, I think that I gave my full potential every day on the field, and I think that really helped me want to continue. Because knowing that I had more in me, knowing that I could be better really made me want to continue with it.
And, what drew you to Bentley?
Bentley, I toured 2 schools. I toured UConn, which is a really big school, and I toured Bentley, which is a really small school. And I knew immediately that I wanted to go to Bentley. I went on the campus, and it was just the opportunities, and I knew I wanted to go for business, and Bentley's a great business school, and I knew that Bentley was going to be right for me. And it just really worked out for me. I chose the school first, and then I talked to the coach, and the coach came to a couple of the games and, offered me a spot. So it just really worked out. I loved Bentley as a school before.
And what are you most excited about in your first year at Bentley? I'm
just excited to be back with a new team, new faces, having people older than me that are going to really help me take me in as a family. And, I'm just happy to be on part of a team.
And what advice would you give to someone who, played sports in high school and might want to do that going into college?
It's never too late. It's never too late to try. It's never too late to get better. It's never too late to get recruited. Always give your 100% and never give up and show up every day.
And of course, I'm proud of you, but, here's a little bit about me. Is there anything, having a brother in sports media has kind of changed your perspective on your athletic journey?
Oh, 100%. You calling my games, knowing that you're going to be there, and going home and you telling me whether I had a good game or a bad game really helped me.
That good lead into this question. Was there ever a moment where you felt like I was more of a hype crew than a sibling, or maybe even more embarrassing than supportive?
No, 100% a hype crew. I mean, my junior year of hockey, I just got penalties, and you sat me down at the kitchen table, and you were like, it's not that serious. Just go out there and have fun. There's no need to be angry. So I think that really was a turning point for my hockey career.
You mentioned the story at the kitchen table about getting all those penalties. Are there any other memories that kind of stick out that involve the both of us about your athletic career?
I think that one game you called for the KP game, where I was right before it, they were like, "Oh, this is a 1-0 game," it was 1-0, and you and I think it was it Mark Hoover?
It could have been. I think it was Joe Pinola, but yeah.
Talking about how having scored all game, I took the puck up the ice, and the way you called it was it's a memory. I think it's posted on every social media.
Oh, definitely. It's definitely on mine.
Norwood, especially as we get to crunch time.
Here's Spinorsha with speed. Shot, she scores! Emily Spinorsha picks the corner and makes it 1-1 with 9 minutes to go in the third.
What kind of other things would you say to anybody who kind of looks up to you as a high school athlete and future as a college athlete?
I think don't be afraid to be embarrassed. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Get other people involved. As a senior, I got the freshmen involved, make them sure they weren't embarrassed or anything, and try their best and always show up, like I said.
Oh, well, thank you very much for joining us, Emily. We want to wish you good luck at Bentley University and good luck in your field hockey career. And for signing off for NCM Sports, I'm Joe Spinorsha.
Speaking of college athletes, there certainly have been quite a few Mustangs making headlines at the college level this past year. The UMass and Stonehill women's basketball teams faced off in the NCAA tournament this year, with UMass getting the win and moving on. Two NHS graduates shared the court. Trisha Brown, class of '83, and Megan Olbrys, class of '21. Brown has been the head coach for Stonehill for over 2 decades, and Olbrys led the scoring for the Minutewomen with 20 points en route to their 86-40 win over the Skyhawks. Another NHS grad, Robbie Witkowski, is now officially the all-time home run leader at Endicott College with 29 home runs. He broke the record with 28, but added one more for good measure. Witkowski helped lead his team to their 3rd straight College World Series appearance and had an excellent career as a goal. We're going to keep an eye on Endicott because even though Robbie Witkowski is out the door, the Norwood connection at Endicott continues as sophomore Trisha Witkowski is still one to watch when the women's basketball team gets rolling this winter, looking to defend its CNE championship. Fun fact, Trisha was interviewed on the very first episode of NCM Sports Talk in the classroom of her physics teacher and NCM commentator Joe Pinola. Joe took to the classroom again, but this time in fellow science teacher John Churchill's room as he went one-on-one with the head coach of the boys' tennis team.
Hello folks, I'm Joe Pinola here with NCM Sports, and I have the pleasure of interviewing my friend and colleague John Churchill today. John is a chemistry teacher here at the school and also the head coach of our boys' tennis team. John, thanks for joining us, and can you tell us a little bit about kind of your background, what brought you here to Norwood, and what your role at the school is like?
Sure. So thanks, Joe. It's great to be here today and to talk about it. I came to Norwood back in 2008. I am a chemistry teacher, and definitely that's my first and main reason for being here. And I came in at the right time, and I also became the tennis coach back then. Back in 2009 was my first season.
All right. So do you have a background in tennis, or is this something that you just happened into kind of being at the school?
Yeah, I actually played a couple years of Division III at my school, competed some, and I played all 4 years of high school. Didn't seem to me like the resume that would immediately get to most places, but there was a opportunity, there had been a winless team, and I felt like I had an opportunity to get into coaching when I was asked. Like I put on my resume, I have some tennis experience, and Brian McDonough came to me and said, do you think you can do this? My first response was, I really kind of want to, but I want to make sure there's something I'm going to do well. And once I kind of got out there, I'm like, it kind of lined up. I have a love for tennis. I really knew a lot about how to do it well, but wasn't really sure that I was going to get the opportunity. And then once I had the opportunity, I just kind of was there and trying to make the most of the opportunity.
Well, it's certainly not easy teaching and coaching in the same school. I know it from a lower level, but obviously at the varsity level, that's tough. What have you liked in particular about being in the same school that you're coaching at? Because not everybody gets that opportunity. We're lucky to have people like that here at the high school, but you see these kids in the hallways, and then you see them right out on the tennis court later in the day usually.
It's definitely a different way to see students, and sometimes I've seen different students that weren't necessarily in my classroom, and so it was a way to expand and connect with the greater school community. I did have a chance to have students in my classroom, it was just always a kind of a special thing because I feel like I invest myself in the students, and it's always good to see them around.
Oh, you're totally part of everything they do, right? You're spending a lot of time with them through the day. So let's focus on the tennis team a little bit this season. Team was 4-12 overall, but it was kind of a step in the right direction for you guys. I was looking over kind of how the season went, and it looks like in all of the matches that you played, save for 5 of them, you at least got one of your groups, whether it was singles or whether it was doubles, winning a match. So a lot to build on. What were some highlights from the season for you, or maybe things that caused things to go in the right direction?
Yeah, I think it takes a while to build a team. I mean, definitely it favors experience, it favors like having that background where you know that you can go out and win, and it's not easy to kind of show up and win. You have the top 2 players going against each other, and thankfully we had Partha, and so that was a big part of just knowing that we had one shot at many of the matches. He wasn't top in the league, but he was definitely a solid player, a 4-year All-Star, so that was really incredible. And then just having Juno with some experience at number 2, and then having more experience with the doubles. So we had a few juniors that had been around for a few years. And just knowing that we could win at the doubles positions, that was still going to be tough. Some of the experience wasn't quite there, but knowing we could get in the singles positions. I should also mention Joe Tipiero at third singles really stepped up and was willing to kind of take that on. We still play some really good players at third singles, and he was definitely stepped up his game. He had 4 wins this year.
Awesome. Well, it seems like you got contributions from all over. I know the match we covered with NCM, you guys played a really tight game against Dedham in that. Or I think it was Norton this season, excuse me. We had a Dedham in the past year. But that game against Norton, I think it was contribution from some of the other levels. Parth had a really tough match against the player that he played against. But I think maybe even it was second singles got you guys right off the track.
Right.
And then one of your doubles teams was the one to close it out. So it truly is a team sport, despite obviously the individual nature of it.
That was a new thing for Gino. Gino's always battled and always felt like he was up against it. He had to start at number 2 singles right out from the gate, and he was not ready for varsity at the beginning, but like just to see him to be a point where he was clearly the better varsity player that day, and he definitely dominated his match, and just to have the other singles match go our way as well. And we were almost there in that doubles match, and we had that second doubles match was also good. So we had some good opportunities there, and it was nice to see that they were competing and having some confidence, even though there was some experience in the other team, and we were doing well there.
Yeah, so it was 4 wins through the season. 3 of them were in conference. Tennis took down Norton twice, I believe.
Yes.
You took down Dedham, and
Second time better, yeah.
And you had an out-of-conference win against Stoughton, I think, to kick things off. So that must have set things off on a nice tone, getting that win to start the season with a team that obviously had some experience. Do you feel like that helped you early on, kind of getting that first one under your belt?
We definitely felt like we had some potential for the season to really do more than we had in past seasons. The Stoughton match was something where I felt like we had a good opportunity to win, but then we were without Juno that day, and we were without Juno for some time. He had a early season injury, and so we're like, I was not sure if we had a chance to win, and we had Jack Weaver stepping up and getting a second singles win that clinched us. So it was just kind of a huge, almost we were put into an underdog situation right off the bat, and we were able to overcome that, and that gave the team a lot of confidence.
All right. Now, if you haven't watched a ton of tennis and you're just kind of joining us today to hear John speak a little bit, there's a lot that goes in that coaching end, figuring out who's going to play where. So you've got first singles, second singles, third singles, and the first and second doubles. What goes through your mind, kind of deciding who's going to play where? Is this something that's fixed? Is it fluid, maybe competition-based? Or in the case like you're mentioning with Juno, when there's an injury that comes up?
Right. So per rule that they have to do, top player plays first singles, second best player has to play second singles. And so that's one unique thing in tennis, is that like you have your top players facing off and your second best players facing off. Third singles can be anybody, and it did make it a little easier this year where Joe wanted to step up and was kind of willing to be that everyday guy, where sometimes it was going to be attainable, sometimes it was going to be really tough. He definitely faced some like top level competition even at the third singles, just some really solid teams. Hopkinton had a number one singles caliber at their singles. Westwood was the same way. And so he was really facing some good players. And then it's all about figuring out the doubles. And I think we were in that figuring phase. Like last year, I had some players who were getting experience. Mm-hmm. This year, I had a few guys that were like everyday doubles players, but it was still trying to figure out that best pairing. So we had graduated a couple seniors last year, and it was about figuring out the best pairing for those juniors who have experience, but really had to keep working on seeing how they could become a stronger doubles team.
Now that's got to, I imagine, if you're looking at a tennis practice, it's not just volley back and forth the whole time. There's a lot that goes into that, and you've got more players on the team that fit spots. So right. What does a typical practice look like for you guys? How do you kind of get everybody involved? Yeah. I know you're dealing with obviously different styles of play. Speak a little bit about that for us.
Yeah, and it was been great because Juno was a great captain in a sense where he was somebody who stepped up early on. I always try to have a captain's-led early warm-up, so they might do a lap or so, and then we have what's called train. We got some movement and really try to focus on movement at the beginning and some stretching, some warm-up that sense, and then getting into usually something with serving or some kind of skill like a stroke that they're going to work on for that day, and then eventually want to get into something with working on competition because early on a lot more emphasis on getting physically engaged with tennis and kind of getting ready for the motion and the movement, and then later on in the season it's more about learning how to deal with situations, how to be prepared for competing in certain situations.
Now, it's interesting. You mentioned, obviously, John's been mentioning Partha Jamalamadako, who's been an all-star for a number of years here. Juno Joe, who was also another captain for you. When we covered the match here with NCM, we had the unique experience of seeing the way that tennis starts off a match, which if you've ever watched any other sport here at the School on the Hill, you get, your national anthem played, somebody else will introduce the lineups, usually our very own Mark Hoover or something along those lines. But with tennis, when we were covering the match, Juno, who did such a really nice job kind of enunciating it, both teams announce who's playing what positions, the players shake hands. It's really a neat display of sportsmanship kind of before the match. Is that something that's unique to Norwood, or is that MIAA-wide, and do you know anything about the origins of that?
Yeah, I think it's mostly like a tennis kind of mindset. I think even when I did play those couple years of college tennis, we did something comparable to that. And it's just a kind of a way of introducing some sportsmanship and also trying to put it out the lineup so there's no feeling of secrecy or surprising. Like you have a sense of who you're going to play, because it is kind of structured where if somebody was to manipulate their lineup, it would maybe make the competition less fair. And so the structuring of first and second singles, and then the rules of being your first doubles team being better than your second doubles team does make it so that there's some fairness in there. I think generally it's good for sportsmanship and just a chance to shake hands at the beginning. I think it's definitely something where you can make some comparisons with tennis to boxing, where it is, if at the higher the level you go, the more it is you have to kind of deal with the kind of situations that your opponent's putting at you, and you can find a lot of comparisons there. But it's also really kind of presents itself as a gentlemanly thing and something where players at the end of the day respect their opponents and respect the rules and such.
All right, I can't say I imagine we were going to have a tennis and boxing comparison as the way we're looking at it.
Yeah.
But it's
look into it.
It's kind of neat on the different positions. So when we were watching the match, obviously, if you see the tennis courts here at Norwood, we got 4 courts. So you've got your first 3 singles out there. You've got your first doubles team. What I've kind of noticed a few times, that second doubles team, just based on the fact that they get kind of a late start throughout the day, sometimes you have maybe some of your more inexperienced players that have kind of almost all eyes on them at the end of the match. And that probably creates some really interesting environments where they get, we saw a couple players helping them out with coaching from the sidelines. Right. Have you spoken with the second double players at all about what that's like, kind of being the last ones going, just based on when they start? Whether that adds pressure or whether they like being in the spotlight like that?
Right. I mean, in terms of if you want to make the shortest tennis match, you wouldn't have 4 courts. So having 5 courts does kind of streamline things. But with our unique situation, I do think that it has created some nice, unique drama. Like we had we split with Ashland last year, and Ashland, we were close to them this year, but last year we were able to split with them, and we had one of our matches where one of our matches that could have clinched it went just short, but then we had the second doubles match going on, and second doubles came through, and it's very dramatic of like having that comeback after being we were up, then we were down, and then so we were up 2-1. It was 2-2. Who's going to win that third point? You need to, it's best 3 out of 5, and so sometimes it does create some drama out there. I think generally the players want to get out, but at the same time, it's always good to see that players can support each other, and it does offer some opportunities for that.
All right, and I also know this season you guys dealt with some pretty interesting weather too. Obviously, it's a bit warmer out. We're doing this interview right before the end of school here, but I think you had a pretty cold match earlier in the season. I know you were telling me about, and obviously rain could play a factor with tennis. So,
Right.
Is that something that affected you guys a whole lot this season? And how do you prepare for dealing with those extremes in temperatures?
Right. I mean, I think some of the guys from previous years remembered some. It's a every year thing in some senses, but whenever it shows up, it always feels like a very unique experience. And I think some of the guys remembered it. We ended up getting team hoodies this year, and so having the team hoodies was very useful. With experience, the players tend to hear about my heads up of like, you should wear a hat, you should bring gloves. Those are all things that are, if they're prepared for it, sometimes it's even a good idea to have like an undershirt or some kind of long sleeve shirt underneath, because it does get that cold. And actually when we played, it was the Medway day, we went to them, and both I and the other coach were in winter jackets, so it does get that cold.
So April, welcome New England, right? You're,
Exactly.
you're still in the winter jackets. And we were upstairs in the bleachers, Mark Hoover and I, calling that match in early April, which wasn't the one John's describing, but that was pretty cold too. Just being up there, I think we were layering on kind of later and later. Ron Marshalsea, who's helping us out on camera, can certainly attest to that as well.
You learn from experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes there's like a little like windbreaker is not enough.
We will be ready for it. But we were talking about how there's a lot of players, obviously, through the team, and not necessarily a spot for everybody on game day. Obviously, you're graduating a couple of really great players, students that I think we both have had the chance to teach in class, who are great kids. What's the future like for this team? Do you have folks that are coming up that you're excited about? And how do you anticipate that going, having two players that played such an integral role for 4 years, move on to big things?
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing you don't know. There's always some question marks, and I think some of my experience gives me some hesitation to like say like I know what's going to happen. Right. But I mean I came in after a 25-year coach. I've been doing this. This is my 17th season, and I think every year like you can kind of see like, are the players really engaged? Are they going to connect and play in the off season? Are they going to kind of come in with some reasonable goals? Because like not everybody can win the state championship, most teams don't, and so there's always that point that you can get to. And if they can set some reasonable goals, I really think this group is going to do well. I had 5 freshmen that were every day showed up to practice every day, would be the last ones to get off the court, would go out and play with each other, even find some friends who play. I don't know what that's going to turn into, but yeah, I feel good about that group, the group that's going to be sophomores next year. I also feel good about the juniors. I've reached out trying to just think ahead to what's the leadership going to look like, and I have 4 juniors that seem really committed to like doing their part and taking over. I don't know what it's going to look like in terms of captaincy, but if they show up as leaders on the team, that's going to make a huge difference for us.
Awesome. So the future is bright with tennis, and it's been kind of on the uptick. Now, one thing that we hear over and over, tennis is a lifetime sport. You and I have played a couple times after school here and there. Is tennis something that you are still playing yourself regularly? And do you ever get the chance to get out and play against the kids on the team?
I don't get to play against the kids on the team, although. And then there's actually MIA rules about like engagement outside the season. But
so I'm glad we didn't put you on the spot there or anything like that.
But no, I'm always glad to see them. If I'm out there in the court, I'm glad to see them out there. And sometimes with tennis, like you just happen to be in the same place. So that I do always like to see the players out and get each other out. I do play. I'm trying to set up a doubles match for tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes. It's halfway there. I need a couple more players, but we'll see how that goes. And it's definitely useful for me to keep that competitive mindset. And then also understanding the dynamics of tennis and thinking about it. I've watched a lot of tennis. I've played a lot of tennis. And with those two things, it gives me some good insight of how to, like, points are won, how they're constructed, and just trying to pick out one or two things that can help students play better. If they it's getting to that level where they have experience and they want to keep playing, but they also I want them to enjoy it. Not everyone's making mistakes the whole way, and it's just like, how can you be the one that makes less mistakes and enjoys it along the way?
There you go. Well, we know that, or at least from my experience being here, you also run the student faculty tennis every year. I know this year I couldn't make it, but it seems like it was a hit, and the students enjoy playing against the teachers that they're seeing every day.
Yeah, when the weather lines up, I do remember that there was one time where we had some rain come in afterwards, and that was still fun. Nobody wanted to get off the court that year either. But yeah, it's always nice to fill up the courts and trying to collaborate and work with girls coach Lisa Tucker, and trying to get more girls involved with that too, because it's really for both teams. And it's always good to have something that connects the community a bit more, and it's a great, accessible athletic experience for everybody, I think.
All right. Well, you heard it from John. It was a really nice, successful season from tennis. 17 years. You got to be close to one of the longer tenured head coaches we've got here at the school.
I have to say
now.
16, because 17 years. The 2020 season didn't happen. Would have been one of our best.
Oh, that's right.
But we have our ebbs and flows. I see some potential for some upswing, and we'll see how that goes over the next couple of years.
Well, we're excited to see it. Tennis is a sport that we're happy to bring you on our airwaves, and the team gave us some good highlights this season. So thanks for joining us today, John. We hope finals end pretty well for you here. One more day of that, and have a wonderful summer. We'll catch you on the court next spring and in the classroom next fall.
Definitely back in the teacher mode. Thanks, Joe.
All right. For NCM Sports, I'm Joe Panola. Thanks to Ron Marshalsey and Kiki Thaxter for helping to set this up. And we hope to bring you more interviews like this in the future. Thanks, folks.
When we come back, Hall of Fame president and Norwood High class of 1974, Brian McDonough, will announce the NHS Hall of Fame class of 2025. This fall, the Norwood High School Athletic Hall of Fame will be inducting the class of 2025. President of the Hall of Fame Association, Brian McDonough, gives us all the information of the newest inductees to have their name enshrined forever as a Norwood Mustang.
Hello, my name is Brian McDonough, President of the Norwood High Athletic Hall of Fame. We are back this year to recognize 6 Norwood High School athletes and a special contributor who have made significant contributions to the Norwood High athletic programs. Before I announce the new inductees, I would like to recognize the members of the Hall of Fame committee and give a little history of the organization. The Norwood High Hall of Fame has been in existence for many years and had become dormant until 2007. A group of alumni and residents came together and created bylaws and qualifications for the inductees. Jim Gormley, a longtime Norwood historian and former school committee member, was our first president and served for 10 years. The early inductions were held at the Elks, and a meal was provided for a fee. When the new high school was built, we moved the ceremony to the Norwood High School auditorium, with light refreshments offered in the dining hall. Moving the ceremony to the high school allowed us to offer the program for free to the inductees, their families, and the community. Thanks to Jack Tolman and the crew at Norwood Community Media, we've been able to live stream the ceremony. A big part of the ceremony has been the highlight video that Jack produces, showing the inductees in action and hearing testimony from former teammates and coaches. After 17 very successful seasons, the committee met to review and update the bylaws and nomination forms. We have 4 new Norwood High School Hall of Famers join our committee. The new members include Norwood High School math teacher Jim Sweeney, class of 1997, and fellow classmate Allison Dixon Baranowski from 1997, Lisa Davenport Reginini from the class of 2003, and Allie Maloof, who is presently the Stonehill softball coach. This group brought renewed energy and suggestions to make our program and selection process even better. I'd like to give a shout out to our officers and committee members. Without their efforts, we would not be able to recognize some of Norwood's best. Vice President Jack Tolman, class of 81, Secretary Paula Pelagi, longtime Spanish teacher here at the high school, honorary 09, Treasurer Dan Kennedy, class of 78, our program coordinator who does the book for us, Peter McFarland, 07 honorary, Kathy Shakoy, Hall of Fame coach, teacher, 40 years of being involved at Norwood High, Jerry Miller from the class of 1965, Joanne Gleason from the class of 74, Nora Glenn, class of 76, longtime teacher and coach here at the high school, Tricia Brown, class of 83, Hall of Famer at Norwood High School and present Stonehill basketball coach, Brian McKenna, class of 1987, and John Longley, the athletic director. At this time, I'd like to announce the 2025 Norwood High Hall of Fame inductees. First, from the class of 1971, Joe Pacello. Joe was the captain of both the basketball and baseball team. A multi-time Bay State League All-Star, Joe was a quiet leader and one of the most versatile players on both teams. He led the basketball team to a big win over Don Bosco at the Garden. Playing for legendary baseball coach Pete Wall, Joe had a batting average over 400. Next, Frank Civittone, class of 1973. One of Norwood's greatest wrestler, a legendary weightlifter and humanitarian, Frank won every match his senior year by pin, many times in the first 30 seconds. Frank also won the Lowell tournament that had some of the best wrestling teams throughout New England. He was inducted to the Mass Wrestling Hall of Fame last year. From the class of 1978, Scott Fisk, Boston Globe, Boston Herald, Patriot Ledger, all-scholastic hockey goalie. In Scott's senior year, the team went 16-0-1. He had a 1.88 goals against average and finished the last 9 games with only 9 goals against. Scott went on to play hockey at Providence College. Jason Nutting, class of 1994, a 2-sport athlete in football and baseball, a multi-time Bay State League All-Star. He led the league his junior year and batted over .525 his senior year. A Boston Globe and Herald All-Scholastic player, he is also a member of the Globe Super Team. Next, Jack Dixon, class of 2001. Jack comes from a long history of Norwood athletes, including his Hall of Fame grandfather and sister. Jack excelled in both football and basketball. A two-way player on the 2001 Super Bowl team, he made an impact on both sides of the ball. On the basketball court, Jack was a 1,000-point scorer and helped lead the team to the state semifinals at the Boston Garden. A Globe All-Scholastic, Jack went on to play basketball at Assumption College. Casey Smith, class of 2015, will be inducted on her first year of eligibility. A 3-sport athlete in field hockey, ice hockey, and lacrosse, she was a force on every team. In field hockey and ice hockey, she was a Bay State League and Globe All-Scholastic. She set many high school records here for Norwood in both hockey and field hockey. Casey continued her field hockey career at Stonehill College, where she continues setting new records for the school. Our final recognition is our Blue and Gold Award. This award goes to someone who has made a significant impact to the community volunteering. This year's award goes to Rick Morrison. Rick has done more for the youth and Norwood teams than most people realize. For the past 40 years, he's been the guy coordinating field use, lining fields every week. I had the good fortune to work with Rick as the athletic director during my time here at Norwood High School and during the construction of the high school. Rick would stay in constant communication to work with the school program and the youth program. Rick truly represents volunteerism and so worthy of the Blue and Gold Award. As I wrap up, I want to remind the people Norwood High Athletic Hall of Fame ceremony will take place on Saturday, November 29th. More information will be coming in the fall. Congratulations to all our inductees, and also congratulations to all of Norwood High graduating seniors this year. Go Mustangs!
Norwood News Sports Update, hosted by Ron Marshalsea, is always a fan favorite on our channels and social media. Here, student athletes get to see themselves on camera right after making big plays in big moments. Ron decided to recap the entire year in something that's usually reserved for SportsCenter. We give you now the top 10 plays of the year.
With all things NHS sports officially wrapped up, we at NCM have decided to do something a little different for the final sports update of the year. We're going to go through the top 10 plays of the year that were captured through our lenses. There were so many to choose from, and any list like this is somewhat subjective, so if you really feel like I missed one or two, or you hate my entire list, just let me know. I won't take it personally. We're going to start off with a few honorable mentions. These honorable mentions would have for sure made it into the top 10 if we had footage of them, like Natalie Martin absolutely owning the course and track this year, Colleen Sisk's record-breaking diving performances, as well as Sammy Lee and Caleb Kwan tearing it up in the pool, and Cece Indek's phenomenal catch in center field against Ashland. The last mention we do have footage of, it's just not during an official game or match. During one of NHS TV pregame live's halftime half-court shots, Emily Spadorsha nailed the half-court shot and earned herself $200 in the process, even if it took Brian Gagliard the entire school year to pay up. So let's dive into the top 10 plays of NHS athletics for the 2024-25 school year. Starting at number 10, we head to the Nolet Johnson Court, where the boys volleyball team showed up on senior night with a massive win over Walpole, sending the Timberwolves home after the 3-0 sweep. This whole match has highlights from the entire team, including the three seniors, Mateo Diaz, Sebastian Eugene, and Xavier Watkins, so to watch that on demand in full, as well as anything else on this list, head to norwoodcommunitymedia.org. And at number 9, Bridget Sopel qualified for states in the 100 breaststroke against Medfield at the final regular season meet of the year. Sopel needed to beat 1:16.48, and she did it in 1:15.58, almost a full second to spare. NCM had Joe Panola and Sarah Sullivan on the call for this state qualifying moment.
She's got about 6 seconds to do it in the event. 14, 15, yes. And she gets it.
She qualified. Oh, that is fantastic. What a swim by Bridget Sopel.
And a deafening cheer here at Blue Hills Pool. Bridget Sopel has qualified for states in the girls' 100 breast with a time of 1:15.58.
And coming in at number 8, the boys soccer team put on a passing clinic against Dedham to snag a goal towards the end of this game. The Mustangs had 7 quick passes in succession, leading to senior Evans Bento burying it to put Norwood on the board.
Ball out front, middle, and they get a goal! Oh, the Mustangs connect here and make it a 1-goal game.
Number 7 keeps Dedham as the opponent as junior Isla Wilson makes a beautiful move past a Marauder defender, nails the top shelf shot, and gets fired up as she celebrates with her Mustang teammates. And we'll stay on the ice for number 6 with junior Jason Gillis on a breakaway in the round of 32 win against Dartmouth. Gillis gets spun around, keeps his footing, and only loses it as he shoots the puck, getting it by the goalie for the third goal of the Mustangs' 10-2 win over Dartmouth. And number 5 is pure strength and power as senior Drew Bartuka on senior night against Holliston lifts his opponent completely off the mat and lets gravity do the rest, slamming the Holliston wrestler, getting the pin and the win. The number 4 spot on this list also includes strength and power combined with speed. Senior and TVL Large Offensive Player of the Year Jack Dwyer broke this massive touchdown against Canton. After making a nice juke, he used his favorite move, the stiff arm, to shed a tackle on the way to the end zone. And coming in at number 3 is freshman Allie O'Neill on the back turf. After she had already scored a few goals, she decided scoring normally just wasn't enough, so she fires a shot over her back shoulder and gets it past the Holliston goal. And at number 2, the field hockey team staying alive and going back to the state championship is because of this incredible goal. Off a corner pass from Bridget Connolly, Ava Hines places the ball perfectly with Shay Larkey tipping it in over the Canton goalie and 2 defenders to tie the game up at 2 heading into the 4th quarter. Connolly scored the winning goal with 8 seconds left in regulation to help send the Mustangs back to the state championship. And finally, at number 1, the boys basketball team had a real close back and forth game with Dedham on January 11th of this year at none other than the court of the TD Garden. Late foul trouble for the Marauders swung the momentum Norwood's way, and with the Mustangs starting 5 out there for the final 12.8 seconds and the score tied at 48, it was Norwood's ball. Caden Sheehan inbounded the ball to Brian Dearborn, who brought it up the near side of the court, lobbed it up to Alex Ukimchik, and he nailed the bucket with 6 seconds left in the game. Dedham stepped out of bounds, leading to a Sheehan to Larky pass and a Mustang celebration on the TD Garden parquet 7 months after the Celtics won their 17th championship on the very same floor. NCM wants to thank each and every person who spent some time with us, whether you volunteered as an announcer, worked with us behind the scenes, or just stayed tuned in on your TV at home. None of this is possible without all of you. And to each and every graduated senior, good luck in life and in everything you do. And as the old saying goes, once a Mustang, you know the rest. And that is all I have for this sports update. I'm Ron Marshallsey.
For a new edition on NCM Sports Talk, we thought we would tap into the NHS TV program and use their talents for our next interview. Upcoming junior Sophie Brogadier interviews her track coach, Alana Keaty, who is a health and wellness teacher at Norwood High. Keaty is also a graduate of Norwood High and was a member of the track team.
Thanks, Mark. I'm here with Alana Keaty, the head girls track coach and cross-country coach at Norwood High. So, Miss Keaty, I'm going to call you that because you're my teacher.
That's what you're used to.
Yes. I mean, you were a Norwood High graduate. Mm-hmm. Can you just tell me a little bit about your path, how you got to be back here?
Sure. So yeah, I went here. I had 1 year in the old building actually, and then the rest of my years were in the new building. I graduated in 2014. I ran cross country and indoor and outdoor track while I was here, and I loved it. I feel like most of my favorite high school memories were with cross country and track. And then I went to college. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but I know I wanted to do something in the health and wellness and fitness space. And then I got a paraprofessional job here in 2019. And I loved it. I loved being back at the school. It was a great fit for me. And then I got the job here because Mrs. Glenn retired. So everything just kind of worked out for me, luckily, along the way. So I got the job here in 2021. And there was an opening for the track position. And all the coaches were my coaches, which is funny. Like Coach Worcester was my coach. Coach Curran was my coach. So it just kind of worked out perfectly, the timing that they need another coach, and I wanted to help out, so here I am.
Yeah, and was there any one coach or teacher in particular that really inspired you to get into both the wellness and teaching and coaching in general?
Yeah, there was a few. I always loved Mrs. Glenn, who retired, and I got her position. I've known her since I was little. We grew up on the same street, which is a typical Norwood thing, honestly, very Norwood. And then Miss Cohn, I always loved her. She's just the best. She's wonderful. She was one of my favorite teachers, and she also was a coach. She was an assistant coach for cross country. Coach Worcester was amazing. Coach Curran, all of them were some of my favorites. So it was easy to come back because I knew I would like working with them.
And switching gears a little bit, obviously cross country is a smaller team.
Yes.
But how do you work to kind of work with individual athletes and make things more specific for what they're working on when there's such a large team and everyone needs that?
Right. No, track is definitely a really unique sport. It's hard. Indoor track, there's less events. There's 4 coaches. Outdoor track, there's usually 5 or 6 coaches we aim for. It's hard to do that because it's a big commitment.
Yeah.
But you need a lot of coaches. There's so many events. It's not just running. There's a lot of field events, and we need more people like you that are willing to try new events, put themselves out there, and not just do the running. But I think the main thing is you need a leader or mentor in every group. You need someone to lead the hurdles group. You've been great with that. We need someone that helps with the throws. You've been great with that too. Somebody distance person, Natalie's been a good leader for distance. Somebody with the sprints, usually Mike is good with that. So I think we need a lot of help from the athletes themselves to be leaders in their own little subdivisions of track, especially if there's only 3 coaches that day. It's hard to manage it all. But I think we have some great leaders on the team, and that makes it better to give everyone attention that they need in their own events.
And like you said, there's so many different events. How do you coach events that you like either didn't do or might not know as well?
Right. So I was a distance runner in high school. I did all the distance events and like the 4x4. So coming into it, I just had to learn a lot of the events. I'm still learning some of the events. Coach Karen's been very helpful. He's been coaching for like 20 something years. He's been very helpful. I'll watch him some days and learn from him with various jumps and whatnot. But it's just a learning process. Like I learn from all of you guys too. There's a lot of events, but that's why you need a lot of coaches. So like we need a jumps coach, we need a throws coach to kind of split up all the different areas, because it's a lot for like 1 or 2 people to do it all, but we've been making it work.
Yeah, and I mean, most people on track want to be a sprinter. They want to run those short races.
Exactly.
Like, what would you recommend for someone who maybe isn't the best sprinter? Like, how would they still contribute to the team?
Yeah, usually that's an issue we run into, as you know. Any new person on the team wants to run like the shortest event. They want to run the 100, whatever, because distance can be kind of daunting to people. But we always try to encourage people to spread their wings the first like week or 2, try events that they've never thought about before. And usually the first meet, if someone runs an event and they realize like, oh, this is maybe more challenging than they thought, it kind of helps them broaden their horizons and try other events. And usually people could score varsity points in an event where you have like lower numbers, so that people like that too, like, all right, I can actually help the team and score more points if I do like the long jump or whatever than if I was in like the 100, because usually a lot of people are in the sprint. So that's kind of what we use to try to help people to try new events.
Yeah,
How about the team?
Makes sense, and this is kind of along the same lines. I might get a similar answer, but like I know the past few years we haven't had the best results in meets and those points scored.
Yeah.
How can the team like improve on that, work to maybe not win meets right now, but like be more competitive in the point totals?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think the numbers is the biggest thing, numbers. The girls team has been doing great, I think, with numbers. We had like 55 girls sign up this year, which is great. The boys team was a little bit lower, but I think it's just having everyone on the team like promote the sport, talk it up to their friends, get people that maybe don't do any winter or spring sports to sign up for the team, because track is a unique sport and the more numbers the better. Like the more the merrier. Non-cut sport, the more that show up, the better. So I think just advocating for the sport, promoting it, having more people show up, that will really help in the long run. And then maybe if we can ever get a middle school program, that would be very helpful. Most other sports have like a youth or middle school program.
Do, and I know like at a meet, I was talking to some Ashland girls and like they've been hurdling since middle school, and we were doing our first meet of hurdles.
Exactly. So that would, I think, help a lot. And like people we know that play like basketball or soccer, they've been playing since they were little, and they've had so much practice and whatnot. There is now a cross-country program at the middle school.
Yes.
Which is great, and like our distance programs have been wonderful. Like the girls' distance team has been outstanding. So I think that is showing that it's super beneficial to start younger and have more youth programs. So down the road, I think it would be super beneficial for the track program if we had a youth or middle school program.
And in terms of recruitment also, how would you recommend that like both us as kids and you as coach can like entice people to join track if they're not doing something else or are kind of on the fence about it?
Right. Usually, I think it helps for people. Like a lot of people do one sport during the year, and I try to tell people it's a great training for you to like say if you play basketball or something. It keeps you in really great shape, and it's pretty individualized. Like you don't have to run, you don't have to do this. You can kind of pick your journey to do it. Usually telling people that it's, again, you can choose what you want to do. It's great to keep you in shape for your other sports. It's non-cut. Someone gets cut from another sport, which is unfortunate, but like they can always be part of a team. So it's non-cut sport. You can welcome anybody. That helps too. And the more the merrier too. Like if someone's friends on the team, then maybe that would help them go on it. So I think all that will help. And that seems to have helped in previous years with numbers. Hopefully it keeps growing.
I mean, as you just said, track is such an individualized sport, but how does like the Norwood track program and cross country work to make it a team environment with those individual events?
Right, that's a good question. That is, I feel like, something that we want to work on. It's just, I think it's just a team effort. Like, we need everyone's help with that. Previous years we've done end of the year. We've done a few team bonding events, I don't know what you want to call it. Like we did dodgeball one year. We did another game like Capture the Flag last year or something. I think it was Capture the Flag. So we've tried to incorporate some team bonding aspects into it. And then usually at the beginning or end of practice, like we'll talk as a group like all together. Sometimes we'll have been a boys and girls team, but sometimes we'll bring everyone together and just give a overview of the week and of the meet this week all together. And for instance, like when I'm with the sprinters, I'm not just with the girls, I'm with all the sprinters. So we try not to separate people totally. But I think that is a tricky thing because it is a team sport, but it is also an individual sport. And we do end of the year, like we did pizza parties before end of the year to try to like celebrate everyone's accomplishments and to wrap up the season. So I think just doing more team bonding events will help.
I think definitely, I mean, kind of on this winter, I definitely want to talk with Mike and like whoever else is captain to work on like more team dinners, try to get people to go.
Like for cross country, they do pasta dinners.
I know, I've seen.
But it's like such a small team, so it's easier.
Right.
But with track this year, I think it was around 80 kids total. So I don't think anyone's mom or dad wants to have 80 kids at their house for like a pasta dinner.
Spring track's especially hard with that.
It's
but
different,
like, one night I know we went to Chipotle and like not that many people went. Karen and I were the only girls. It was fine.
I know, it's
but
tough.
like people did go. I
think the more you do it,
maybe if we get it out, like I definitely want to work. Mike can get it out to the boys. I can work on the girls. Like we can spread that.
Exactly.
And get people.
Like it's a unique sport, but it's definitely possible to make it a tight knit team. It's definitely possible. But I think that would be great, like meeting at like Panera or Chipotle.
Exactly, like places that can see
and if
people.
you can make it, great. If not, it's okay. Like just putting it out there for like anyone to attend and to hang out outside of practice would be helpful, I think.
Yeah, that would be really good.
Yeah.
Well, Miss Katie, thank you for coming and talking with us today. And for NCM Sports Talk, I'm Sophie Brogadier.
Another popular NCM exclusive is our post-game interviews with athletes live right after the game. Let's hear from freshman Allie O'Neill after her 6-goal game against Bellingham, including an NCM top 10 behind-the-back goal.
Congratulations. How does it feel to see the team get a lot of different opportunities and get a pretty big win, 3 in a row now for you guys?
Yeah, thank you. I think it was just like, it's really nice when we connect those passes on offense and we're like all playing our hardest, and it really helps us win to the end, and like it's just everyone's hustle and determination to win that really makes us such a great team.
Yeah, Allie, did we see a BTB down there?
Yeah.
Atta girl. It's good stuff.
I think that was the 6th goal, right?
I think something like that. So good for you. Incredible freshman year so far. How you, obviously you're adjusting well coming from the youth program to the high school. What's been the biggest difference?
Honestly, I would think just like the speed, because youth it's a little slower, but like once you get to high school, it's like a fast movement on offense, defense, quick transitions, but I feel like you just got to get like a couple games in to really adjust to the speed, and then you're all set for the season.
Yeah, you've adjusted well. We've been saying it the entire broadcast. I don't know if you're going to be able to watch it on a replay, but incredibly smooth player. Stick skills and your IQ is off the charts. So,
Thank you.
Great job.
All right.
Anything else, Joe?
Yeah, Allie, I'm looking down at the last couple of contests. 19 goals for the team against Norton, 18, 17 tonight. What's been working the last couple of games that really has the offense clicking?
I think we're all just playing hard. We're all playing smart. We're keeping our heads up to like find those looks on offense, and I think we all just trust each other with the ball enough to like really like connect everything on offense.
So, Allie, just to the offensive point, is Coach B been trying to get you guys to not rely on the set plays so much and just get into a standard motion and try to get people to cut through, and it seemed to be working today and scored a few goals off of that.
Yeah, we're just beginning to like get a little bit busy off ball, like instead of doing plays. It's like we've been working on it at practice, and I think it's really going to work out for us in the end because we're already applying it to the games now, and yeah.
Okay. Well, good luck against. Is it Ashland up next?
I believe so, right?
Yeah.
You can correct me if I'm wrong, Allie.
Yep.
Well, we've been saying it, but certainly a tough
and
opponent.
I think you've played them already, right? So you know that's a hard game. And then Medway, I think, is right after, which is going to be a team that's going to be very competitive, and they're going to need everything you got for that. So good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Spoken like a true coach. Thank you, Allie. You did a great job in that interview, and good luck. Go celebrate with that team a little bit.
Thank you.
All right.
Immediately going into the offensive end, and it's Allie O'Neill with nobody around her. Throws a backhanded shot over her shoulder. Mike, did that go through? Unbelievable.
Little BTB. Like I said, she's got really good stick skills.
Very impressive as O'Neill moved in. She had space in front of her, although Bellingham was closing in. But check that out. Not sure if we were really able to get that on replay.
They took that monitor from us, and they're not going to be able to verify that.
But that was a beautiful job. I wasn't sure myself the way she kind of threw it over the back shoulder. But either way, a double hat trick now for Allie O'Neill, and Norwood's got 16 as their offensive engine is humming lately.
Well, that's it for this episode of NCM Sports Talk. Once again, we hope you've enjoyed the program. And if you missed any one of NCM's broadcasts, or you just want to see a certain game or program again, you can always go to the on-demand feature on the NCM website, norwoodcommunitymedia.org. For NCM Sports Talk, I'm Mark Hoover. Have a great day, everybody, and let's go Mustangs.